Welcome back everyone to Jface Games. Today I am doing a working video. I will put timestamps to relevant thing. I've never done timestamps before, but I will do timestamps to relevant stuff below. But this is a working video. I'm trying something a little new. And the idea here being that there is a game design loop that I was just listening to on a podcast for the guy who created Ascension. And here's the game design loop in essence, where he does what inspires you, right? So what drives you, what excites you, what experience you're trying to create. Framing, so what are the constraints around it? Deadlining, so I'm going to have to do some deadlining in a second. We'll talk about that. Component constraints, time constraints, etc. And then you have this brainstorming process. And the brainstorming process, he limits it to 20 minutes of exploring ideas, 20 minutes of organizing, and 20 minutes of eliminating, okay? Getting down to as few possible sort of ideas as possible. And then prototyping, design the smallest thing you do to test it, actually do the testing, and then take what you learned and go back through this loop. So this is our game design loop. What are some other things we have here in the red at the top? We have aspects of game design. This is from the same gentleman, where you have immersion, craft story, social aspects, aspirations, win, achievements, prove you're better, growth, improve skill, move up, expression. So this really doesn't apply. So when I think about a TTRPG, it's kind of, a lot of this stuff is already baked into a TTRPG. So, but I'm just putting it here as a reminder. And then here are the 7 principles of game design that I've gotten from another sort of source, where it talks about you want to have achievable goals, solvable puzzles, nuanced emotions, rapid and robust controls, toys that combine into a game and fun to play with, obvious next steps, immediate feedback, high perceived skill, and high perceived challenge, right? So these are other game design principles. So what we have here is I've already kind of done the I've started part of the open exploring concept. I've been just grabbing a bunch of stuff and throwing it on this page so that I have some things. And I'm going to walk through a lot of this in just a half a heartbeat. And I'm going to start the timer, right? So I've got this 20-minute timer here. I'm only going to give myself 20 minutes for each of these sections. I'm going to open-ended exploring, which is in essence kind of walking through what I have here for 20 minutes. It's going to get my head hopefully in the right space. Then what I'm going to do is start organizing my thoughts, putting something together in terms of a first run prototype for a TTRPG. So, because in essence, I still love the pressure system, but I'm starting over from scratch because I want to do some rapid prototyping, and the pressure system will probably still work its way in there somewhere. But for now, I'm starting from scratch, trying to clear the brain, get into this process of rapid prototyping. I'll talk about what that means when I kind of get to the end of this hour-long process. And then so I'm going to do that for the 20 minutes organize, 20 minutes of sort of organizing, and then cutting things down. So let's go ahead and start the clock, and I'll start walking through some of the stuff that I've got here. Okay, so first we have theme. For me, the things that this kind of comes from MCDM, they talked about what they use. And so for me, my theme that I'm kind of going with is cinematic. I love that. I love tactical, heroic. So those 3 things I share with MCDM. We just might represent it differently. And then the last one I had was dramatic. I like the idea of making it feel dramatic. You know, I think there's, you can feel heroic, but not feel like there's drama involved. And so I'm going to try and make it feel dramatic in a way. Here I have, as a reminder, sort of these statistics in sort of what makes a modern board game. So a lot of modern board games, feeling like an expert is 65 to 70% chance of success. Skilled is 45 to 60. Untrained is 35 to 40. Some of these kind of vary. We've talked about this before. Advantage, disadvantage, you get a plus 15 or minus 15% shift. And then working on 5% shifts for other sort of modifications. Okay, cool. We'll come back to this, but these are the classes I previously liked from my system in terms of warrior, and then you have subclasses of tactician, fury, seeker, muse, breeze, stalker. I'm probably not going to get into these much detail today anyway, so that's fine. Different session designs. So I liked the idea of these are your 3 sort of session concepts, right? Exploration, combat, and mission. So I might design each one of those differently, right? Where when you sit down for a gameplay session, which I think of a gameplay session as a 3-hour session in essence, because that's what I play with my my game group, that the theme, depending on if this is an exploration, a mission, or a combat session for that 3 hours, they all still can have all three of those, but the weighting and balance might be different. You actually might be it might have a different design based on what the top-down theme is, right? So we'll come back to that. Where's the fun? This is just a reminder, like, don't just build systems for no reason. So what else do I have in here? I've got some other just random ideas, right? This was the idea of sort of a turn or a combat, because that's what my group usually does, is combat. So I'm just putting combat in here as my main focus initially for creating this. So initiative, side-based or randomized, still haven't decided, but considering. Action economy, I thought about this action of having auto attacks, right? So you're always going to have an attack, not action, but you're on your turn, you're going to attack, and it automatically is going to happen. The question is there automatic damage? Do you just automatically do damage, and that's one of the things you do on your turn? Then you have something called a cinematic or a tactical action, which is now, this is actually your sort of like, I'm going to choose something to do on my turn. Vagabond style, in terms of, I put this because he has a quick action in Vagabond system, which in essence you can just kind of do whenever you want, right? Where it's like you can do it on anyone's turn. You can use your quick action, and there's different things you can do. And then down here, this is from, I believe, Lancer. Lancer, they talk about having a quick action versus a full, and in essence you can do 2 quick action or 1 full. I don't know about that. We'll see about that. I don't know if I'm going to get that complicated. And then you have your move. So you have a move, you have automatic damage, and then you have your cinematic or tactical action. This is the idea. I thought about just naming it this because, you know, if Colville talks about these are our 4 things we want, and for him it's heroic, fantasy, tactical, and cinematic. For me, I started thinking about, well, why don't you just name the action after the thing you're trying to accomplish? Because maybe that'll help invoke that for you. So we'll start there. We'll start with one of these names. And then different features that character classes might have might absorb multiple of these. So there might be a fury feature or some sort of raging feature that automatically absorbs your auto attack and a cinematic. Whatever. We'll figure that out. This was potentially that I was playing around with the idea, if we don't want to make it automatic, because there's the idea of always roll for damage, roll for attack, both, right? There's the potential that I want positioning to matter, and so maybe if you are engaged, you don't have to roll to attack, you just roll to damage. But that means you're really close to the enemy, and that means that there's other things happening. Whereas this is for melee, whereas if you're not engaged, then you got to actually roll for attack and roll for damage. Same thing for ranged, the idea being that if the target you're shooting at is not engaged with anyone else, you don't have to roll for attack. But if they are, then you've got to roll for attack or some sort of skill check or something. You know, it still might be incredibly fast, right? Where it's, let me look at my skill, let me roll under my skill or over, just to make sure I accomplish that. And this would be bows, and this would be with some sort of melee. All right, cool. Moving along. What do we got here? I thought all damage, this is a write-up I'm planning on doing at some point in time, because I like bell curves for damage, because it makes it a little bit more predictable that it's lumped in the center. And so the idea that all damage is in a game is a bell curve, so I just wrote down a bunch of different damage potentials. Game modes, what? Let's hear again. Game mode. I guess this is more mode. Doesn't matter. We'll come back to it. Shout out to one of our buddies in Discord, ZA, Suez-ZA. I don't know how you pronounce it. Soez-ZA. I'm going to say Soaz because I'm a PT. But I really liked his idea about, he has this skill, this dice that's a skill. And the main choice he has on his turns is that every turn you are going to be, you can use that skill die to either add to your attack, add to your damage, spend it in order to do multiple things, add it to your defense. I just think it's a clever little choice with a simple mechanic, and I thought that was very evocative. So I put it on here because this is my inspiration board, right? Oh man, we're running out of time, 13 minutes. This was, I was running, jogging, and I was just writing down things. So initiative should be side-based, but with the potential for enemies to interject. There just needs to be some sort of trigger. I think the concept comes from Daggerheart. Daggerheart system. In essence, you roll hope and fate die for your 2d6. You can watch another video, I think, where I talk about that, or write-up. And if one die is the fate, one die is the hope, and if you add those two dice together, you're trying to get above a target number. So I rolled 2d12, I get a 16, the target number was 12. Yeah, I won. But if the fate die, or if the fate die, if the hope die is less than the fear die, then that's a penalty of sorts, and one of the penalties is in their initiative system. It means now the bad guy gets to take an initiative. They get to, the initiative jumps to the other side. And so I think that's interesting, right? That makes it really interesting. What else do I have? It's also interesting in the game how they have the damage roll to have big numbers, but it just translates into some sort of threshold for a smaller numerical number for easy math. That's clever. Can the cinematic action have subclass associated with it? Is this how we can get to defend strike? Okay, so there's a bunch of different random ideas in here. In essence, I like the Daggerheart initiative concept. I like the Daggerheart's quick math, but still having big number rolls, because it invokes that feeling. And then down at the other end, I kind of got into this idea that over here can defend, lead, strike, control from our pressure system. Can that live in here? Live in here. I don't know. We'll find out. Here's that concept of positioning matters. I think that's important to me. So I'm going to put important. Zones still matter, just don't determine movement potentially. Being engaged with enemies matter. That goes into the top. This was a video that I put on here for inspiration. We're not even close to airships, so we don't have to worry about that. I think that was from Runehammer. Shore leave mechanic. This was an idea that I had apparently on that date. Trying to figure out how to have time off. Okay. Control versus chaos. This is another idea I was thinking in terms of you could have, in essence, these different states that your game is in. It's either in a controlled state or a chaotic state. And depending on that, it's going to open up different options for your character and your class, right? So if you think about love and lasers and feelings, maybe you have a skill like blades, right? And then you have a number, 14. Well, higher than 14 is a state of control. This is, we'll say 8, because you're an expert in, well, I don't know. We'll say 10 for now. That's not very fun. 12. And then we'll say chaos. And this is a half-baked idea. So now it's one of those things where you have both a roll over and a roll under system, where if it's a controlled situation, you're actually really good with that. You're better, and maybe Blades is a bad example. Maybe it's Investigate, right? We have a skill called Investigate, and in a controlled situation, you have to roll over a 9. In a chaotic situation, you have to roll under a 9, right? So food for thought in terms of, I like the idea of having this sort of chaos versus control meta mechanic, or meta currency, because one of the things that a lot of the players liked from the pressure system was the idea of manipulating the pressure die. But there's a lot going on in that, and so this to me has the potential to have another global status that you're trying to manipulate as a team or individually. And so once again, we go back to position matters. This could be position dependent, because if you can get your, a defensive position, then all of a sudden your caster has control, right? They're in a controlled state. We'll get that there. Magic system. Look for Vagabond for inspiration again. Vagabond's getting a lot of shout outs. They did some cool stuff in that system, or Terran did some cool stuff. Here's another write-up from a day of just rambling. Idea that movement is done on any of your allies' turns. I was text to talk when I was running. I can't change it from here. Turns. Initiative is card-based in Brandon. What? I don't know what that meant. Once again, I was jogging and text talking. Damage is to the 638. This is making no sense. Blinking or having advantage gives you another dice of damage. Cinematic or tactical actions can be used to perform disengaged. Use tokens to represent the turns if you've done them. Okay, this makes no sense, unfortunately. I'll have to come back and translate that later. Perfect. That was a waste of time. All right, teamwork. We still have the teamwork points, which I love. Still potentially as a resource that you gain. Maybe it has thresholds on your character sheet that show uses. This is kind of a nod to Dragonheart again, I guess, where they have the resource of hope that it costs more to use hope on yourself than to use hope on a friend. I thought that was kind of neat, interesting, because it kind of builds teamwork in. Action words for your actual skills. I love that. Crown and Skull inspiration, action choice. I like this hurry mechanic. I don't know if that fits into our mechanic and our ideas right now, but the hurry mechanic is cool. How you have this penalty for be able to do two things at once. Turns are fast. And then here you'll see that I have a bunch of actions that I kind of grabbed from different games. Lancer, which is supposed to be highly tactical. I've got a bunch of its actions on here as quick actions, full actions, and then reactions. I've got Dragonbane, some of the actions I liked from that. And then I had Vagabond, some of the actions I liked from it. So you have these quick actions and these main actions. So these are just inspiration. This is a video from, I think that there was a video that was linked by Lethal Latus in our Discord channel. And there was this one image from it that I thought was magnifique, which in essence, it's a video game, but it was talking about game design. And in this video game, you can see that here are your attributes, and here are your attributes, and those attributes will affect your defensive ratings, but then they also affect your both active sort of action abilities and your passive stats. And I just thought it was a really cool chart to show how they put a lot of effort into making every attribute important, right? So there's no dump stat here because it means that you are sacrificing either a defense or passive stat or an active stat. So I thought this was really nice in terms of game design mechanic. Here was me just taking a couple snapshots from the Daggerheart character sheet that I thought was cool. This is once again that threshold for damage, and then your actual damage you take. And then their hope system, where you can spin 2 for someone else. They have a wealth system that I like. I think the wealth is kind of cool because it's very similar to, I think Matt Colville talked about 5 stages. Where's my camera? 5 stages of wealth. And this is kind of similar. There's 5 stages, but you have multiple checkboxes in each stage. So that's kind of nice. And then they have armor absorbing damage, which I think is also a big deal. And then down here, I have Dan Harmon, who's a writer of the show's Community and Morty and Rick. And he has something called the Story Circle, which I think is pretty cool. And this is going to be for later. This is not for the design. But when I create this encounter sort of one-shot, I'm trying to create a one-shot sort of generator to help me and inspire me so there's less prep time for a session. But it's not going to be something that you automatically, okay, that's what I'm doing now. It's more inspirational, right? It gives you an inspirational outline. And one of the things he talks about is this story circle, right? Step 1, the use. Step 2, the need. Step 3, the go. Step 4, the search. Step 5, the find. Step 6, the take. Step 7, the return. Step 8, the change. And then what's really cool is that he has examples in here, but there's also the circle. If you see it, the bottom half is a world of chaos and the top half is a world of control, I think he describes it, which fits with some of my motifs already. And so that's very interesting to me. I think that it'd be pretty cool. And he gives examples in his TV shows about how multiple people are going through their own story circle in the same episode, which I think is also cool. Okay, so that is our exploring. This is open exploration. I don't think there's anything else I want to add to this because it's a lot. I could probably organize this a little bit in advance, meaning like this. These are much more like, I'll come down here. These are much more sort of like session design. They don't necessarily have anything to do with the mechanics of combat, whereas everything up here now is a little bit more combat mechanic-y, and that's where we're starting in order to get a good baseline game, right? What else? I think that's about it from an organizational standpoint. I mean, from a exploration standpoint. That's My transformer isn't always transforming. Or I'll do my altered beast. Rise from the grave. Yeah, I think we're good. Let me just do, because I got 3 minutes, and I want to prep myself really nicely here. Let me just try and translate this thing again. Idea that I'll go to the actual note. Oh, I got some Huberman stuff on there. That's fun. I listen to a podcast at the same time. Idea that movement is done on any ally's turn. I think that's fair. Initiative is a card-based system, question mark, where you still be able to do cards quickly. Damage is to the, that makes no sense, so that's a lost cause, unfortunately. Damage is to the question mark. Blinking or having advantage gives you another dice of damage. Blinking, I have no idea what that would be. Cinematic or tactical actions can be used to perform disengage. That makes sense to me. Use token to represent turns if you've done them yet or not. Flip them. I think this is to help with movement on any turn, right? That's when you would have that. Blinking or having advantage gives you another dice of damage. Blinking. Flanking. I bet it's flanking or having advantage gives you another dice of damage. I think this is the idea that if you're going to have static damage, position, and using other abilities, you're just adding another die to that damage roll, potentially. Damage is to the... I don't know that one. Okay. Alright, well we cleaned up some of it at least. Alright, anything else here that we need to clean up? Ooh, we're missing this now. A reaction's a thing. Why did everything get... Oh, because I did the mouse wheel and... Let me do this real quick. I come back here and I need to make it smaller again, and then all of a sudden everything is nice here. Alright, I think that's it. I'm going to go ahead and call it for the brainstorming sesh. Sesh? Can I say that and not sound douchey? I don't know if that's possible, so I won't. I already did, damn it. Okay, create a new file. Let us begin the next portion. I'm going to create a file. I'm going to put it here. I'm going to delete all this. Or I think this is technically called organizing or designing. All right, and then we have this stuff over here. And so I will be pulling from here, and hopefully this is easy enough to see for y'all as I kind of get this going. So let's pause this. Let me take a sip, reset my clock. Good old H2O. And now let's do it. Okay. All right. So we're gonna have initiative. We're gonna have action economy, stats, and skills. You know, basing what you understand or what you can do. I might be talking at half talk. Just a heads up. Enemy, health, and dying. Both enemy and you. Modifications. Fun resources. Okay, so initiative. Let's just go card-based. Card-based initiative. Nope, don't like card-based initiative. We already talked about Dragon Heart idea, so let's do side-based initiative with surprise enemy turns, right? We'll get back to that. I like the idea. We'll come back to it and how we would actually accomplish it. Auto damage attack. Let's go for it. Let's see how this works in terms of no skill. Let's say this. Let's say Auto attack action. Melee, just roll damage if engaged. Ranged, just roll damage if enemy is not engaged with ally or lacks cover. Otherwise performs skill check. Okay, cool. Then we have, I'm going to call it the cinematic action. And then we have move. So what are things that we like from potential cinematic actions? Let's go to the quick actions from everybody's stuff. We have evade, parry, rally, round rest. I'm just writing them all down. Pushing. No, pushing is not going to be an action. That could be a fun resource. Pushing, right? We have counter, quick cast. I always liked that one. That was cool. Withdraw, disengage. Not going to put focus. I'm going to put focus down here as a fun resource. What else do we have? We have grapple, hide, ram. We don't need a ram. We're not a big thing. Hide. Prepare. No, that's like focusing. I think that's it. And I guess over here, where would something like barrage stay? Oh, we'll do, what's that word for suppression? Right? Oh, but then we can also put in here defend, lead, strike, and what's the other one I always use? Control, right? We're just putting it there as a reminder. Do we need to have reactions? I don't think so, because these are going to be on any turn. So we can have brace, right? Brace or, I guess evade. We'll put it up here. Brace. That's in essence like this is you're trying to dodge. This is trying to use your skill. This is trying to just take it like a champion. Okay. All right, we got some stuff. Now, stats and skills. Oh my gosh. All right, this is a big one. What do we want? We got to have, we have our, this is in essence sort of like stats, skills / resolution, right? What did I have? At one point in time, I had a bunch of skills. Massive amount of skills. I forgot to put this on the list. Attributes. Is it in here? Nope, that's not it. Crap. This is going to cut into our timer, isn't it? That's okay. I'm going on Google Sheets because I think that I had put it in there when I did a video for y'all at one point in time. So now I got to go into Google Sheets and find it. And I'm going to be talking the whole time to make this interesting. Okay, we're back in. And so we have... this was a ton, right? This was a ton when I was trying to figure out what to do. And so let's just... We don't need all of them right now. Let's go with... combat, presence, exploration. We don't need seafaring right now. Prowess? How many of these things do I have? This was me playing around, and then weapons. Any of these make sense? We'll find out. I don't like having weapons and combat, that's for sure. This one had strike, shoot, defend, maneuver, counter. That's getting a little redundant with some of the stuff from above. But hey, we got 20 minutes to cut, right? Persuade, negotiate, deceive, inspire, intimidate. Exploration, no, that's not there. Scout, survive, investigate, forage, cook, discover. Probably a little bit too... Okay, so I don't like much of this. I'm not going to lie to you. But we got to have something down because this is for rapid prototyping. And we want these statistics. So let's go ahead and let's cut the weapons for now, right? So we'll cut the weapons and we'll say, yeah, we don't need these weapons right now. We're going to just take this. We'll have this combat action or this combat stat. Are you going to have a stat for this? Probably not right now. Let's just say that you have skills in this, right? You're going to have a skill in strike, shoot, defend, maneuver, counter. We'll figure out what the hell all that means later on. Right now we're just working with what we got. And then you're going to have a skill in this, and you're going to have skills in this, and you have skills in this. What are these skills going to be? We could just do a D20 system real quick, just to, once again, just to trial. We could use the pressure system. I don't want to slam it into it right now. And we're still considering the concept of control versus chaos. So let's go crazy, right? Let's just go crazy. Let's say that this is going to be like we talked about earlier. It's going to be control versus chaos. And control is roll over. Chaos is roll under, right? And then we'll say that each of these just starts at 10. It's fine. This doesn't feel inspirational or good at the moment, I'm not gonna lie, but we'll say every one of these stats is a 10 to begin with. Like you're just kind of... But what does that mean? That means that you're never untrained, right? I guess that means you're only untrained. It means that you're only untrained in... If everything's a 10 to begin, that means that you've got at least a 50% chance or 45% chance on that skill if it's chaotic or control. Does that feel good? That means that everyone's skilled, and that in order for you to be an expert, it means you're being untrained in something. So I don't know if that feels good, because let's say that I've said I want to be better. I am a skilled person at striking, but if I devote myself to that skill, I can become better at it in a controlled environment, but then I actually become untrained in a chaotic environment. Does that feel good? I don't know if that feels good. So let's not do that. I still want to use this control versus chaos resource, but let's not do that because that didn't feel good to me in my brain. So then maybe you have a choice of pairing things together. Now, let's just go down the list and give these numbers. Let's say that you have to choose one expert, 2 skilled, 2 untrained. Let's just do that for now, because I think there's 5 in each of these. This doesn't feel good from a character creation standpoint, but at least at this point in time, and there's 6 down here, so I'll have to put, let's just do 3 untrained. And we'll have to get rid of some of these things. Let's just say, let's do that for now. And we'll come back to it later to see how it feels and how we can make this more interesting, right? And so now this means that we're just in a D20 system. D20, expert equals 8. Skilled equals, let's make it 50. So that we'll say 11. And then untrained equals... Let's do 40 for that. So we'll say 16. Let's see, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. That's only a 25% chance. So what is that, 13? 13, right? Because this is 50% chance, and we're going to go down 10 from that. So yeah, 13 or higher. All right. I mean, that's not inspired, but the goal here is to just get something working, right? So the goal is going to be, we got to get back up here and make these interesting and fun. Because that's what we're in essence messing with. Pushing, advantage, at a cost, focus, not sure yet. Oh, no, advantage at a cost that is a resource. So we're gonna have advantage, disadvantage, and we're gonna have, ooh, what did I do? +1, -1. Those are your typical modifications for this style of game. What else do we want to have here? Side-based initiative with surprise from the enemies. Do we need this many ways of defending oneself? This is use weapon, which we don't have a weapon currently, so we can get rid of that. That's paring down. That's the next 20 minutes. What else do we want in here? We now have a simple resolution system and simple skills. We have actions, but we haven't flushed out what those actions means. We have to come back to that. Health and dying. Let's say it's a enemies do X damage. Let's see, player rolls to defend. Enemy does X damage. Armor reduces X damage. Certain skills are impaired by armor. Excess damage goes to your HP. Right, let's just do HP. We're just trying to make it work at this moment. Right? Let's just say 0 HP starts death timer. Right? We're just trying to get something, and then we'll play around with what made it work, what made it. And the goal will be, I'll do a play test, and I'll ask myself, what if this actually was cinematic, tactical, dramatic? Enemies. Come back to that. Let's go up to actions. Let's go up to side-based and actions. So, evade. This is, I can use my cinematic action to invade. So if you haven't spent your action, you can use this to take no damage. If you haven't spent your action, you can use this to double your armor. That's nice. So maybe we don't have a maybe we get rid of this roll because that's redundant, right? If you're gonna get hit and you're gonna take damage and your armor is gonna reduce it, but if you spend a cinematic action, you can double your armor or you can evade, right? And evading is based off of, let's just turn this into evade, a skill that you have. Okay. Rally, regain a dice of HP. That'd be round rest. Round rest, regain a dice of HP. Rally, give an ally a dice of HP. Sure. Counter, attack an enemy who has attacked you. So you're not getting a free action. You're not getting you are getting a free attack. But same rules apply. Same rules apply as auto attack, right? Meaning melee or ranged and engaged or not. Quick cast, we don't have magic. No magic yet. Withdraw, disengage. This would mean that lose engage status. So that means that engage matter. This means engaged matters, which that means that do shit when, part of my language, engaged, because it matters. Grapple, keep an enemy engaged. Hide, I think that's pretty self-explanatory. We'll get back to that, I guess. Suppression, keep an enemy from moving or reduce their accuracy. So then here's a question. Do we need these? So defend would be the same as evade or brace, so we probably don't need that. Lead, that's your sort of rally, or maybe there's some sort of maneuver action. Maneuver friend, maneuver ally, which is use... Oh, crap. Now we've got an issue. Use maneuver ability. And this would be... So maybe we don't need defend. Maybe this is maneuver. And this is evade, because we're kind of getting rid of defend. We'll see. We'll see how that feels good. To give ally another move. We don't need strike. Do we need a control action? We have a grapple to keep them in place. We have a suppression to keep them from moving or reduce their accuracy. We have a counter where we attack. We need a taunt, maybe? Taunt. Force an enemy to attack you. Do you need a skill check for that? Maybe that is a presence, intimidate, or persuasion. Maybe it's either or, right? Right? One of the two. You're either freaking them out because they feel like they need to attack you, or you are taunting them in a way that it's persuading them to attack you. Maybe persuade's the wrong word, but maybe it's deceive. Who cares? We don't need that right now. But so this feels good. This feels better, right? There's a lot. There's a lot of cinematic actions. Oh, timer's done. All right, we're done. So we've added everything we can at this point in time. I will probably flush out enemies in some shape, way, or form, because at this point in time, they're just a bag of HPs. All right. So the next action that I'm supposed to take in this process is elimination. Get down to as few ideas as possible. All right. Reset this timer, and let's get going. So as few ideas as possible. All right, side-based initiative. Well, let's just, we're just going to do side-based initiative for now, right? And we'll say with surprise enemy turns is something for later. So let's do this. Something for later. I'll tell you what, let's do it like this. Later. Notes. Later. There we go. So now we have auto attack action. I like all this. Right? I'm okay with all of this. Or lacks cover. This implies that there's a cover system. And so we'll have to figure that out. Otherwise, perform a skill check. Strike or shoot. Okay. A cinematic action on anyone's turn. Once around. You haven't spent your action. You can use this to take no damage. Okay. If you haven't spent your action, you can use this skill check. Brace. This is no skill check. You're just doing it, right? Rally, given ally a dice of HP. We don't know how much HP is in this game, so that's fine. Round rest, regain a dice of HP. Okay, so you can do it for yourself, or you can do it for an ally. Maybe this is that teamwork where it's like ally, do it for an ally, it's more. Right? I don't know. It adds that I'm going to help you element. Maybe it's a terrible idea. I don't know. Maybe it's class dependent. Counter attack an enemy who has attacked you. Same rules apply. I like that. The only question is this going to be a god stat? God ability. Only right choice, right? I don't think it will be, but withdraw, disengage, grapple, keep an enemy engaged. I think this is almost the same as taunt. There's some redundancy between this and taunt, so let's get rid of grapple for now. I want grapple back in the game, but let's get rid of it. Hide, we don't need right now. Suppression, keep an enemy from moving or reduce their accuracy. We don't know what this means. Taunt, intimidate, force an enemy to attack you. I like that. Maneuver an ally. Yep, those are tactical to me, and they make sense. All right, do we get rid of stuff from here? Counter. Don't need counter because we have a counter attack action. So now we have strike, shoot, maneuver, evade. Okay, we don't have a defend. Persuade, negotiate. We don't need negotiate right now. Deceive, inspire. Ooh, inspire. Maybe this is inspire action. If you're gonna rally, is this inspire skill? That means you just can't spam it. Do we want people to be able to do it? I kind of like people being able to do it. Inspire, intimidate. Scout, survive. I don't know what survival. Cook. Let's get rid of cook and forage for now. So we're getting these down to 4, and so then we'll do 1 skilled. Yeah, let's do 2. I'm being generous. Being generous. That's very generous, but that's fine. And then for your actual stuff, athleticism, acrobatics, resilience, willpower, mobility, reflexes. You know what I'm gonna do? This is gonna be probably brutal. I don't think we need any of this stuff right now. Because we're just not there yet. Right? We're not, whoop. We are not there yet. So we have this stuff. We probably don't even need these, to be honest, but the only ones we're using is inspired, so but we'll keep it there. Enemies, what else can we get rid of? Players don't have to roll defend, so let's do this again. Notes. Players roll to defend. Enemies do X damage. Excess damage goes to your HP. 0 HP. Yeah, I mean, the rest of it is... It's already pretty bare bones, right? So get rid of that. Modifications, advantage. But right now, this is just based on whatever the DM says. We don't even have classes yet. We probably have to build at least... I'm going to build at least 3 classes just for the heck of it. It'll be super bare bones. Real quick. We'll do it here. Fun resources. We haven't used any of these yet. So there are no fun resources. No fun for you. Later. Nope. Notes. Later. And we'll say... What am I doing? And I need to put teamwork in here, right? Team rock. Okay, teamwork. All right, so we don't have any fun resources yet. We have teamwork. We've added. This is just DM says so right now. DM says so based on situations. This is a very shadow darky way of doing it. Meaning that, like, no conditions. Okay. All right, and now that all looks fine and dandy, and then we'll just do classes real quick. I'm not going to cut any more for now. Let's just do warrior, rogue. We don't have a cast. Let's do warrior, rogue, zealot for now. Just because we don't have a magic system yet. Even though zealot would technically have magic. Let's just do warrior and rogue. Screw it. That's all we can do. We can do that. So let's just say, you know what? We don't even have to build classes yet because we're not going to build any powers. I can just do this and change which one they're an expert in and which one they're not. And based on that, that will give us a vibe for different classes. So, okay. Is there anything else I need to, quote unquote, eliminate at this point in time? It doesn't feel great. This is a hard process, to be honest, because I want to make super creative stuff, right? And it doesn't feel super creative. But that's not the point, right? The point is, I guess, you're supposed to just make it as fast as possible. Let's just give everyone attack damage. Let's just say heroes do 2d6. Medium weapon. Let's just do this. 2d6 medium. 2d8 large. 2d4 small or light. Be fun stuff later. And so then I'll have to figure out armor. Armor. Light. Reduce 2. Medium. Reduce 4. Heavy. Reduce. No, this could be too much. Let's do that. Because if you brace, it's going to double. That's pretty big. Okay. I think that's it. I think I'm going to cut this video short now. Or not short. I think I'm going to stop it here. And I'll tell you my intentionality. So my intentionality, I guess I'm not stopping. I'm stopping this process. Countdown timer, boop, stop there. My process now is I'm going to force myself to do a playtest of this week. Okay? So the goal is I have to have deadlining. Deadlining right here. Boom. Right? Let's use the other one. Boom. So I need to do deadlining. So I'm going to give myself, this is a tough week for me, but I'm going to try and get a second video up this week. I'm not going to try. I'm going to get a second video up within 7 days from today. And that second video is going to be me going through a playtest. Maybe I'll be able to get people to help me do it, but I don't know if I will. And so what I will do is I will get a playtest going, and it'll probably just be me walking through an encounter. And then after that playtest, I will then do a next video of doing this exact same process because it's supposed to be going through this loop. And I'm going to go back through this loop 100%. And I'm going to have my list here. And I'm going to be cutting and getting rid of stuff and going back through a brainstorming and chalking down the things I liked. And we're going to do this week to week. And we're going to knock this thing out and actually have a plays tested through system in order to... What is it? Rapid prototyping? We're going to rapid prototype this thing as opposed to me sort of doing, excuse the French, mental masturbation in terms of what I think might be good. All right. So that's it, folks. Enjoy the video. I know it's long. I'll try and do timestamps. We'll see. Hit the bell, hit subscribe, hit the like button, and I'll talk to you guys soon.